A new poll shows that a number of Americans can't stand the President of the United States. Now, that's interesting. Now, according to the most recent NBC News Wall Street Journal public opinion poll, an astounding 69% of Americans do not like Donald Trump. Now, that's Donald Trump personally. That's not about him as a politician or about his policies. Just if you like him as a human being. And so that's important because it goes back to what made George W. Bush popular among general Republican regular people, right? And I know it's a weird thing to say because to me, George W. Bush is a terrible person. He was an idiot of idiots. But then again, compared to Donald Trump, he looks kind of like a genius, a very stable genius, who was also a war criminal. But all that stuff aside, right? So, okay. So the reason I bring that up is because there's that old, I guess statement or adage. I don't know what you put it. But where it's like, oh, well, I like this guy. I would have a beer with him after dinner. I'd go out and I'd have a beer with this guy. I may not agree with him, but I like him as a person. And look, I like Obama as a person. And I could even like some Republican. I can't name any, to be honest, because they've become just so incredibly disastrously bad people. But I guess back in the day, people could name Republicans that they disagreed with, but hey, I could still have a beer with you because I like you as a person, but I hate your policies. Okay. But this is not that. Donald Trump is universally disliked by 69% of the American people because of who he is. Now, again, that's important. Now, I think policy is more important. And so that's why I don't like any of these Republicans. Why I wouldn't have a beer with any of them? Because their policies are abhorrent. Locking kids in cages, denying reproductive freedom, stuff like that. Okay. So now, again, policy, right? Most important thing. But even if you don't look at that, even if you look at him just being completely unpopular on his personality, well, that's bad news. Now, some political analysts are saying that, oh, you know what? He could actually take how unpopular he is and turn it into a favorable. Now, well, that's interesting. Now, they say that unlike past elections where favorability of a candidate as a leader or leader was key to re-election, they're saying that in 2020, that won't be much as a factor because he will drag everyone down with him. So there is that old saying, of course, that he will drag people down and beat them with experience for being so low. Am I butchering that today? So I'm just butchering everything, but you get it, right? So now they say that this will not be a factor again because he knows how to go low, right? And so Hillary Clinton, he used that with Hillary Clinton. It's funny because she said, well, when he goes low, we go high. And that's not exactly what happened. It turned out that according to studies, Hillary Clinton actually ran more negative personal attack ads against Donald Trump than anybody. Then he ran against her. You know what Donald Trump ran more on? Policy. Now, his policy is horrible. Again, he ran on, well, let's build the wall. Now, is that a policy position? Yes, it is. It's also incredibly racist, but it's a policy position as well. Whereas Hillary Clinton ran Donald Trump bad. Yeah, we know Donald Trump's bad. Okay, tell us about policy. Okay, anyway. So now the Washington Post, Aaron Blake, who's a writer for the Washington Post, he explained this back in July, that the Trump campaign knows how to go low because they've already mastered it. Quote, given Trump's longstanding unpopularity, a big question has always been whether he will be able to take the eventual Democratic nominee and drag them down to his level or in the mud. He showed that he could do it in 2016 with Hillary Clinton, who ended the campaign as unpopular as Trump was. But it's not clear whether he'll be able to do it again. Now, let's be fair. Hillary Clinton had a lot of baggage, a lot of things that were wrong with her campaign. And so it's not a surprise that she was deeply, deeply unpopular. But in 2020, it really depends on who the Democrats put up as their nominee. Again, Hillary Clinton, terribly unpopular. She was out of touch with middle America, couldn't even put together the Obama coalition of young African Americans, Latinos. She just didn't do as strongly with the African American community as Obama had done. And of course, didn't really get the white working class as well. There was that immense lack of enthusiasm for voters in her campaign as compared to Donald Trump. And the thing that all the pundits got wrong is unlikely voters. And so that's one thing that propelled Donald Trump. Unlikely voters. They came out more because they were more excited about Trump's campaign, whereas the turnout for Democrats was a bit more depressed than it should have been that they were counting. So now, not only that, but something that turned people off was the air of entitlement among the Clinton camp. Oh, it's her turn. Why is she not 50 points ahead? Everyone should vote for me because Trump, he's very, very bad. Okay. But what are you going to do for us? Oh, I'm going to provide no change whatsoever. No structural change because everything's already great, which is, of course, is not true. But anyway, so I kind of agree with personality not being a big factor, right, in this election. Everybody knows and had already known back in 2016 how bad of a person President Trump was, right? Donald Trump is. I mean, again, I did stories in 2015, 2016 about how much of a disaster Donald Trump is and will be for the country, and it's pretty much all come true. So it doesn't take a genius. You just have to pay attention to his record and who he is. Study him at all. Study him for 15 minutes. And you'll come up with a couple of conclusions. One of them being, this guy's really dumb, and he's kind of an asshole. Yeah. Okay. So now what matters more? What are the Democrats going to do to counter that? That's a good question. Now, for me, there's only one answer to that, right? Policy. Good policy. Now, when it comes to policy, no one is even close to Bernie Sanders. Elizabeth Warren, she is in second place. She has the second best policies. But again, you ask me, not even close. Not even close. And that's what I think this election is going to come down to. What policies do these, and what kind of vision do each of these candidates represent? Donald Trump, we've already seen his vision for the country. Basically white. That vision is white. White people, billionaires, hold all the power. Immigrants are shut out. Women are denied basic reproductive freedoms. That's what they believe. That's what they want. So what's the Democratic vision? Well, it all depends on who we nominate. Again, Bernie Sanders, right? Bernie Sanders has a vision of people actually being able to get health care. Everyone getting health care for less money, for cheaper. People having a chance at opportunity, create new jobs, leave their job where they're guaranteed health insurance through their employer. No longer do you have to rely on that employer under a Medicare for All system to be able to have that health care. So you can leave your job, you can go be an entrepreneur and not have to worry about, what if I get sick? What if I lose my insurance? Or what happened to the GM workers? Their insurance gets taken away because they were on strike. Or you lose your job. All this stuff. Very important stuff. And again, Bernie Sanders has the only policies that will address these things. So now you add to that the personality part of it. Bernie Sanders is a rock star. Now, I know. He's a frumpy old Jewish guy that's very, very angry, right? That's what the establishment media always points at him with, and says about him, right? Well, somehow he has amassed a very loyal following of people. Why? Because he tells the truth. He's a genuine person. And not only that, or I should say because of that, he's one of the most popular politicians in the country. And he does refuse to be dragged down to Trump's level. Why? Because he focuses on policy. He keeps it about policy. That said, he does know how to fight Trump, and he does know how to fight back. But he keeps it about policy, and that's the most thing that's important. And so, what is Donald Trump going to do to attack him? Well, they've already been doing that by going after taxes, Venezuela, right? Socialism. That's what they do. And of course, Trump already has a nickname for him, Crazy Bernie. I know, Crazy Bernie wants to take away your student loan debt. Oh, well, that actually sounds kind of good. Well, I like that. What, guaranteeing health care for everybody through a single payer system where you get better insurance. That sounds kind of good. Oh, we get Medicare? Wait, an expanded Medicare? I actually kind of like that. Again, it's not people liking their insurance company. It's the fact that they like having insurance that is guaranteed. This would do that. It would guarantee it to everyone. But look, here's the thing. The socialism thing, that's their entire plan, right? Attack socialism, compare Bernie Sanders to Hugo Chavez, Joseph Stalin, etc., right? But they use that against Obama. And anybody who knows Obama knows he wasn't anywhere near socialist. And honestly, Bernie Sanders isn't even a socialist either. Bernie Sanders is a social democrat, like FDR. And what the Democratic Party used to be before it was taken over by corporate interests. When they actually brought some people to some of the most popular programs the country has ever seen. Trump's going to have a really hard time, I think, fighting against the groundswell of people who actually want Medicare for all, free college, and other great policies. And he's also going to have a really hard time now disguising his own failures. He could run on the failures of the establishment and Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, right? But he's going to have a hard time running on his own, especially when Republicans for the first 2 years had complete control of the government, where they were the majority party. And what did they do? Tax cuts for the rich. Add in his own corruption, and well, I don't think it's going to go very well. The only way the Democrats can lose this is anoint another Clinton-esque candidate who represents establishment interests. Now, luckily, there's this thing called a primary, right? And in a primary, we can vote for our nominee and the nominee that's going to best destroy Donald Trump before it's too late. So get out there, register to vote, make sure we support a real progressive so that we can crush Trump and actually enact a progressive vision for America that doesn't leave anyone behind. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.